All right. Well, welcome everyone to the third ever AA technology sharing session. The idea for these sharing sessions came out of conversations I had with some of you at the most recent National AA Technology Workshop. There was a common feeling that we needed more frequent opportunities to get together and share our experience than just once a year. And so these monthly sessions are an attempt to meet that need. The sessions will always be the last Tuesday of each month at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Today's session will have 8 5-minute presentations on, you probably already know the topic if you're here, but here it is in the chat. WordPress plugins for AA websites. So after all 8 presentations, we'll have time for questions and sharing. So as you listen to the different presentations, write down any questions or comments that come to mind because we won't stop after each presentation. We'll save all of it for the end. We'll finish right at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. So these sharing sessions and the format are an experiment. So please provide your feedback. At the end of the session, I'll put a link to a survey for today's session. And if you'd like to help guide this experiment, because the goal is for it to be a long-term sustainable service project, please join. I've realized I'm really bad at multitasking and talking at the same time. So let me put this in the chat before I try to read it. Oh, and Zoom said that paragraph is too long. So let me break this up. Okay, so there's the first part. Okay, so if you'd like to help this thing we're doing right now become a long-term service project, there is a steering committee. We just had our first steering committee meeting 3 weeks ago, and thank you everyone that was able to come. We had 6 people total attend. The next one will be June 4th, same time, so 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We'll use the same Zoom info we're using right now. You'll have a chance at that meeting to share how to make these better and if you want to see what opportunities there are to help. But whether or not you can come to the steering committee meeting or not, we're looking for people to chair these tech sharing sessions. That means you'd get to pick a topic of your choice and you'd arrange presenters, and the steering committee will help you get presenters if you need help. And then you'll do what I'm doing, facilitate this. There's a format you'd read and you'll facilitate the meeting. I've committed to doing the first 6 of these, and then we have someone who's signed up for July and someone who's signed up for August. But beyond that, we don't have people, and if we want this to keep going, we need your help. So you can email techsharingsessions@gmail.com if you're interested in sharing a session or just want to ask more questions about that. So there will be a bunch of links put into the chat today, potentially. We'll see how many go in there. Don't worry about collecting them all. I've got a Google document created that will eventually have all the links. I prefer to have a lot of links already pre-populated in there before this starts, but I didn't get all of that done. So I'll be adding them as we go or even later today. But you can just, bookmark that, or that'll be easily found in the overall Google Drive. I'll give you a link to that later. But the last thing I want to say is that these presentations this is a learning group. We're not experts in technology necessarily. Most of us are just alcoholics who had some experience or maybe not much at all, but we volunteered to help our local service entity, and so we've gained experience that now we can share. So with that in mind, thank you all of our presenters. The topic is as I mentioned before, WordPress plugins for AA websites. For anyone not familiar, I have a feeling most of you know what WordPress is, but WordPress is just an open source software for creating and managing websites. And it's really popular. I've heard something like a little over half of all websites, or 40% of all websites on the internet are running WordPress, which is pretty insane when you think about how many websites there are. And because it's open source, it's actually free software. Of course, you have to pay for web hosting of some kind to have a server to run WordPress on. And WordPress plugins are pieces of software that extend the functionality of WordPress. And some of them are free, some of them cost money, or some of them cost money for like premium features. There's a whole ecosystem of WordPress plugins out there that can do all sorts of stuff. And I picked this topic because a large majority of AA websites do run WordPress. And on the technology and AA forum, and just in the Area 72 web quarterlies that we have, it's always like, oh, what plugins do you guys use? What plugin are you using for your calendar? What plugin are you using for translation? It's always discussions on plugins. And unfortunately, we don't have enough time tonight to exhaustively talk about all WordPress plugins and compare and contrast them. But you're just going to get a nice overview of 8 plugins that our presenters have found very useful on their websites. And so with that, we'll just jump right in. And again, another thing I'm behind on my prep is I wanted to have all my 8 presenters, like city, where they're from, area, all organized, but that information is still lost in my emails. So I'm just gonna tell the person's name, and then if each presenter can please tell us where you're from, and if I haven't already made you a co-host and you need to screen share, I'll make you a co-host real quick. So our first presenter is Scott. Is Scott here?
Yes.
All right. So Scott, take it away.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Scott. I'm an alcoholic. Jacob,
Hi,
thank you
Scott.
for seeing this. There's a great idea, and I think this is gonna serve us well. I'm gonna start my timer because I'm already going along. My plugin. I'm from Area 59. That is the eastern half of Pennsylvania. I see some folks from Area 59 on. I also see some board members from TIAA Forum. I got involved with TIAA Forum a few years ago, and in fact, I was in Virginia. And think I probably saw you there, Jacob. Did a presentation about TIAA forum down at the. Anyway, my plugin that I offered to share is called Weglot, WEGLOT, and what that does is it translates your website. And so, if I can share my screen, please. Oops, what happened? I don't see any tools at the bottom for sharing my screen.
You are a co-host, so it should be there.
My apologies. There it is.
Okay.
I had it too low on my desktop. Okay, so what I want to share with you is our Area 59 website. This is obviously a WordPress site, and I build things in Elementor. And so this is a plugin that I inherited when I redid this website 3 years ago. And you can see right down in the lower corner, and you can put this little icon anywhere, but we have a large Spanish-speaking population, and so we offer up our website in English and in Spanish. And all you got to do is click on this little icon down here, click on Spanish, and everything that was HTML gets translated into Spanish. From buttons, you name it. However, you'll see there are certain things that are graphics, like this is a Photoshop, this is a ping, so is this bridging the gap, so is we help here, or that sort of some of these things. So obviously, it's not going to translate your graphics, but it does translate everything that's HTML. I mean, I could poke around and show you, like this is our business page, and there tons and tons of. This is where we show all of our reports and things. Uh, what we do, because of our Spanish speaking population, is we post all of our reports in English and in Spanish. So kind of makes sense. Let's see, with my remaining 2 minutes, actually less than that. I think what I want to share is that there is a cost. I think some of us would consider it a substantial cost, but the pricing for Weglot, this doesn't seem to line up because we get 200,000 words a month, and we repeatedly bump up against that and sometimes exceed that, and then at that point it's not going to do it for you anymore, and then they'll say we'll go up to the next one. Well, we are already spending 470 I'm looking at my PDF on the side of the screen, 470 euros or 440 euros. Anyway, it's like $470 a year. So whatever that is, what's that? $40 a month or something like that. But it's pretty cool. It does a great job. And that's probably it for me.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, and Area 72 uses Weglot as well, and there's a lot more to be learned on all of these plugins. Like Scott only had 5 minutes, so I'm gonna plug the technology and AA forum as a place to go if you want to continue discussion on any of these plugins today. So thank you, Scott. And our next presenter is Michael. Michael, are you here?
Here, thanks, Jacob. I'm Michael. I'm an alcoholic,
Hi, Michael.
and I am the Panel 70 and Panel 72 webmaster for California Northern Interior Area 7, District 21. And I currently serve on the Area 7 Technology Committee. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, so what I'm presenting on today is a plugin called MetaSlider. It's a slider carousel plugin. What we're looking for is we're looking for a way to display event flyers in sort of a interactive, clean way on the website. This is an example of what it looks like on the current aaplaster.org homepage. That's the URL for the District 21 website. We like that it's clickable, it's very responsive, so it looks good on mobile. This is an easy way for you to just sort of, you can slide with your finger on mobile between the flyers, and it's an easy way to share the flyer. It looks like 5 minutes goes pretty fast, so I may not be able to demo everything that I planned, but let's see how far we get. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the back end and a training environment that I created so that our trusted servants can make changes to the website and experiment and build pages and work with plugins without changing the live website. So this is the back end of WordPress. Many of you will be familiar with this environment. If you go to the MetaSlider menu, you'll see some options here. Here's the upcoming events slider that we've created. This looks a little bit different in the training environment because it hasn't been updated since 2023. You'll see the data is created and the shortcode. You click on the option, and these are the various slides that we've created. This is the free version. The free version is super robust. It supports only image files, so keep that in mind. Sometimes we receive PDFs for events, people just converting Word docs into PDFs, for example. There's a number of ways to convert that into an image file. Normally what we do is we just take a screenshot and convert it into an image file that way. You have some options here. You have an SEO option that will allow you to put in some alternative text for the image. You can enable and disable slides based on the responsive view. We just leave everything at default. There's an option to crop the image. And what I like about the paid version, which we do not use, is the ability to schedule slides. You know, for example, we'll have an event that expires. The webmaster has to go in manually and remove this slide. It's kind of cool to have the ability to kind of schedule that out. The quick start option is pretty cool. You have the option to, you can either select files locally off your machine, or you can open the media library and add files to create a new slideshow. Or you can just go ahead and create sort of like a demo slideshow, which is what I'm going to do. What I wanted to do is I want to show everyone how easy it is to add a slider to a page or to sidebar navigation. So by default, there's just some stock images that we've created. Another thing that I want to add is that it's important that when you add a slide, that you'd want to put the URL into the link URL category so that you can have this click functionality. So that's pretty important. So what we'll do is there's a couple ways to add the slider to a page. You can use the shortcode, or you can use sort of the Gutenberg block editor to add the slider to the page. So we're just going to go ahead and create a new page real quick. This title demo slider. And what I'm going to do is use the shortcode. Just paste that in. We can preview it. Sometimes the preview function is kind of buggy and it takes a few moments in my experience. So that may not be working well. Let's see if we can just publish this to see the example. Okay, looks like it says it was published. So here's your demo slider. You can, it's pretty quick and functional. I don't know how I'm doing on time. I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and skip to the plugins product page on the website. So you can see that there's a ton of features. It's supported by Gutenberg by default. I think that you might be able to use an Elementor. There's a lot of options here that we just don't use on the District 21 website. We don't need many of these options, but it's pretty robust. The pricing right now is 50% off, so you can get it for $39.50 a year. You just want to gather requirements for your website and see if you have enough value with all the premium features. Again, we've been able to get away with using the free option. And another thing I like is that there's a ton of documentation for this plugin. So if you have any questions, you can add custom CSS. There's a lot of features in the plugin, and if you need support, if you need help with it, there's plenty of documentation available. There's a few things that I skipped, but I think we're at about 5 minutes. So
Yeah, no, that was perfect.
all right, cool.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Michael. And it's cool to see, like, I visited the Sacramento area for a wedding, and I was using your website to try to find meetings back in September. So it's
I love it. Right on. Love to hear it.
it's a small AA world. All right, so thank you again, Michael. That was great. And our third presenter is Carrie. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. My name's Carrie. I'm an alcoholic, and I'm currently serving as Panel 74 Area 46 delegate. I am the Panel 70 during the pandemic recovering tech chair. Tech chair during the pandemic was a lot of work, as many of you know. So during that time, I figured our area was already digesting a big chunk of technology, so why not build a new website during that rotation as well? So that's what we did. And my committee was really focused on building a website with the spirit of rotation in mind. so that somebody who came after me who doesn't know how to create websites could still update and maintain the website. That's why we used the Elementor plugin. So that's what I'm going to show you right now. So I'm using Elementor on a few different websites. My area, as I said, rotates our tech chair position. There are some other areas and central offices and intergroups that have hired a Tradition 8 special worker. So I've installed Elementor on many of those websites with the anticipation that at some point they're going to turn it back over to volunteers and it's going to be going on with rotation. So here's one of those. This is the East Bay Intergroup website that I built a few years ago, but I'm going to show you that the New Mexico Area 46 website, which is two sites in one. It's a service site and a public site. The public site is for PICPC work. And then, of course, the service site is for everything related to service. So what I want to show you specifically today is how easy it is to use Elementor. Once the pages have been built, you can build templates in Elementor, which can then be installed on any new page that has to be created, which is super great because then somebody, as soon as you show them how to create a new page, install the template, all the elements of the page are already there, and then all they have to do is fill in the content, which works really well. So I'm logged into the back end of WordPress, but this is the front end of the website. So I'm going to show you how easy it is. There's a space right here that says Edit with Elementor. So I'm simply going to click that, and it's going to look just like that page looks now, so that I'll know exactly where I'm going to edit things on the page. Come on, Elementor, I know you can do it. So while that's loading, Elementor has a free version and a paid version. When my committee developed the website, we used the paid version. And I will tell you, since I was tech chair at the time, that was my service position. So we actually had a budget. So I hired a outside developer to do some custom work that I wanted done. And then I personally spent about 400 hours on the website. So we paid for a Honda and we got a Cadillac. The idea was to have many different resources for our trusted servants. But as you can see here, this looks just like the page looked before. On the left-hand side are the elements within Elementor, which is why it's called Elementor. And it's literally just drag and drop. And then on the right side is the navigator for this page. So this is talking about the different sections that are on this page. But I'm going to skip over this news section just so you know that's created using the blog feature. We just don't call it a blog because we don't blog in AA. But let's say I wanted to change some of the content in this section right here. I just click on the section, and then on the left-hand side is my content, which you see here, but you want to edit it on the left-hand side. And I simply start editing. Once I'm done, I click update, and it will automatically update on the live site. You can install or pay for the paid version, which is $60 a year for one website of Elementor. And then once you're done developing the website or creating it, then you can just go back to the free version. You'll get to keep all the features you used when you were developing it. You just can't use any premium features moving forward unless you paid for the plugin again. But it's literally that easy. And it's, like I said, it's drag and drop. So let's say I wanted to move this button right here. Oh, now it's not going to behave. So if I want to move this button, say I wanted it to go in this column, I simply drag and drop and it shows up right there. Say, oop, nope, made a mistake. I want it back over here. It's simply that easy. That's how you can add elements or edit elements within the page. And again, you can create templates that will match the look and feel of the website. And then those pages can be additional pages using templates can be added at any time. And with that, I am almost out of time. I will say I am very passionate about AA websites reaching those still sick, suffering alcoholics, because these days that's where people go. So it's so important for all of us to have websites that can be found online. I wouldn't go to page 2 drunk. So I'm certainly wouldn't go, I'm not going to go to page 2. Well, I should say I wouldn't even go to page 2 sober, much less drunk. So I think it's important for us to, I don't care whose AA website it is, but we need to get them on the front page. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carrie. So our next presenter is Yvonne. Go ahead, Yvonne.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm an alcoholic. I am from Area 15, which is South Florida, plus some of the islands like the Virgin Islands, the Bahamas, Antigua. And I'm here to present on the events calendar. Some of you may already use this and know more about it than I do, but it's a really neat calendar that I discovered when I was the area web chair, the district web chair. And then when I became the area web servant, we have a web servant and a web chair. So I do all the changes and the web chair runs the committee. I installed it on this because it was so great, I thought. So anyway, so this is our website. And up here we have, I have a tab right here that goes to the event calendar. So this is what everyone would see. And we have just our March and April events upcoming. We don't have a lot of things on the calendar as of right now, but so what I want to do is take you to the back end here and show you how you would set up one of these events. So if I click on the events after it's installed, obviously, this lists all the events that we have and have had in the past. And how you create an event is you just head over to the add new button. So we're going to make one just so you can see what all the different little buttons it has. Oops. All right, we'll do that. So we put a name in there. You can add some media to it. I just for fun made a flyer just for today, just so you could see what it was like. We're going to post this in. We're going to edit this up a little bit. Let's make it a little bigger because right now we'll make it full size. I'm going to want it to have a link somewhere. Right now I'm going to link it to TIAA just for fun. And so that is going to be so anytime we click on this, it'll take us to whatever link we put in there. So for now, it'll take us to TIAA when we make it live. Then we go down here and we're going to say when the event is for. I think our next sharing session, the last Tuesday, might be the 30th here. We'll change the time to make it from, let's see, 7 to 8:30. You can put in venues here. We have a bunch, but I'm going to we have one already set up for virtual. All of these events you can create it right here as you can type it in as you go and it'll create the event. You can put in the address and everything, but we're going to do virtual since this would be a virtual. We're not going to show the maps because obviously there's no map to a virtual. If you had an organizer, you could put in that information like your archives committee or whoever that would be. If you have costs, those go here. And one of my things that I discovered recently is this excerpt. I love to put something in here because this is what shows up. You'll see when we do the event and it lists the events in the page. So you can also add custom fields, some CSS if you know how. I'm going to come over to this side, over to the right here. So you could just save it as a draft. You can preview it. Something that I really like when we put in, we do password protection on some of our pages because they have Zoom information and we try to avoid Zoom bombers. So sometimes we will password protect and make sure that the body has the password to that. So you could do that there. You could add tags to it. You could also put categories in here and you can add categories right from the page. You can make it a feature event or you can even hide it if you wanted to. We'll make it featured so you can see what it does. And finally, you can set some sort of a featured image, which we'll just do. Maybe we won't. Let me see. Show something. No, it's not going to work. Okay, usually somehow a bunch of pictures would show up here and we could make one of them a featured photo, which I'm just not going to do because I don't have the time. And then after all this, we're going to publish it and we're going to see what it looks like on our front end. So I'm going to go back to our events and we'll do a refresh here and it should pop up somewhere in here. Let's see. All right, there's that. Okay, and there it is. if I had a picture, there would have been a picture right here, but unfortunately, for some reason, my images didn't come up fast enough. And then if you click on this, it gives you a little bit more information. There's the technology sharing session. There's the little flyer I stuck in. And then if I click on this flyer, it's going to take me to whatever website I put in as the custom URL, which for us, I just put into Discourse. There's also, now this is all the free version. I'm sure there's other, there's paid versions also that probably offer a little bit more. You could check that out. I'm not really sure what the paid versions do. I've always just relied on the free and it's been good enough. One more thing I want to point out, and then I'll be done, is over here on the left, you can go into tags or the event categories and edit them. You can edit your venues through a tab here. And the settings tab is also here too. So I'm going to stop sharing. And I think, there we go. And I think that's all I have to say about the events calendar. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much, Yvonne.
Thanks, Yvonne.
And yeah, we'll go on to our fourth presenter now. Or fifth. We're up to Sean S. Go ahead, Sean.
Hey, everyone. Sean S. I am the web chairperson for Area 33. Shout out to my neighbors on the other side of the state. I'm going to be talking about, I live in Detroit, Michigan. And we had a lot of representation from Western Michigan over in Area 34. So I'm going to be talking about quick featured images. Yvonne could not have queued this up better for me. So you may be asking, what is a featured image? A featured image is this thing right here that kind of serves as a visual or iconic representation of that post category or stuff. It adds some visual interest to your blog, so it's not just a wall of text. And just so you guys know, we are looking at the still under development version of the Area 33 website that I'm going to be launching hopefully within a month. So this is not, I haven't even reviewed this in detail with our officers, so it's super secret squirrel stuff. Anyway, all right, so what does this plugin do? Basically, it is like a Swiss Army knife for setting, replacing, deleting in bulk your featured images. The other things it does is it supports creating rules so you can automatically assign a featured image based on the post type, based on the category. If you have any custom taxonomies, you can set that based on the custom taxonomy or term. So it just kind of simplifies all that stuff that Yvonne was trying to do manually and running into a challenge. So without further ado, let's go into the settings. When you install it and activate it, it creates this nice little menu over here in the really, really cluttered for me left sidebar. We're going to first start out with bulk edit. So I will say that the interface is a little not super intuitive, but that's all right. We're going to deal with that. So the first thing I'm going to do is set a default image. So you can turn on this automatically overwrite based on these rules anytime you edit a post. I do not have that checked. Very first rule that I do have checked is automatically use the very first content image in the post, if available in the media library, as a featured image. That automatically applies when you save the post. So I've got that set to yes, and I'm doing that for a variety of different post types. Then you can add an additional rule, like say, okay, so if my post type is event, I want this cool calendar image. And if it's just a regular post, I want it to be this cluttered bulletin board. And then I'm going to add a rule for if it is tagged with geography. I'm going to choose an image and there is this geography map here. It's just a bunch of old maps. So I'm going to choose that. And I'm going to save. Okay, so if I create a new event, it'll have this as the banner or as the featured image. But if there is already an existing image like a flyer, hint, hint, or if I add a flyer to it, that first image will automatically overwrite. So watch it make a fool out of me now. So I'm going to go in here to Modern Events Calendar. I'm going to add a new event. And I'm going to give it a day, call this March Roundup Planning. Let's actually say it's April Fool's Day and April Fool's Day again. And let me drag the Zoom thingy out of my way so I can actually see. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to go ahead and let me move the other Zoom thing out of my way, and I am going to publish it. And now I'm going to view my event and see how it automatically created this. And I am messed up my CSS for the actual event display, so pardon that. So say, okay, so this is great for events that no one has created a flyer, but we all know how AAs love their flyers. So I'm going to go ahead and edit event. Actually, before I do that, let me go back. Actually, you know what? I don't need to do that. So I'm going to add image. And I'm going to upload. And I'm going to do this flyer for the March Roundup 2025 thing. And now I'm going to update it. And now if I view events and refresh, watch it made a liar of me. I love it when that happens. So if I go into my event list, and okay, I could also, the other thing that this does is it creates this column over here. So you can manually change your featured images. So I'm going to set it to that one manually. And then I am going to refresh. There we go. It updates. The other cool thing that this plugin does, I forgot to time myself, so I will, all right, so let me go back into featured image. Okay, so say I have on my other window, which is, oh, come back for me. There we go. All right, so if I search for District 1 and hit enter, brings me my search results. Here's another example. If I search for my tag about, you'll see that all of my about the different service positions have this funky question mark thing. So say I found a new featured image that I want to apply to all of my tags, any post that has the about tag. So I go back in here, I go into bulk edit, and I use a selected image as the new featured image. I choose that image and I choose this nice imitation Scrabble image as my new featured image for any of the things that are tagged about. So first off, I select the image, then I go into next. Now it gives me to do some options. Do I want to overwrite existing featured images? Yes. Do I only want to overwrite ones that don't already have them? I'm not going to check that. I'm going to do post type and tag filter, and then I'm going to do next. Now it's giving me the feature option. Now in the free version, you can only bulk edit posts and pages, the default post types. So if you have custom post types like events, you either have to go and click on and edit them, save them manually to force that, or you can buy the free, premium version. So I'm going to uncheck pages. I'm only going to do posts, and I'm only going to do the ones that have the tag about. I do preview filtering. So it's going to change all of these posts, the featured image from that funky question mark to the imitation Scrabble. I'm going to hit apply, and then I'm going to refresh. Boom, all of these are changed. And here is my about Area 33 thing now. And I am at 2 minutes and 15 seconds. So I'm from the midpoint when I started the timer. So my time is up. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sean. I had no idea that kind of tool even existed, so that's cool to learn about. All right, so our sixth presenter is Peter, and I think I already made you a co-host, so go ahead, Peter.
Hey, that's me. I'm Peter. I'm an alcoholic. Hi. I'm from Area 38, the eastern half of Missouri. I live in St. Louis, and I'm the area webmaster. So I'm going to talk to you about gravity forms. So let's see if I can do this. All right. Hopefully, y'all are seeing that. This is our area website on the front page there. We've got a good number of forms, so I'm just going to pull one up here for bridging the gap. So bridging the gap, I don't know if everybody's aware, but as people are getting out of treatment, they'll submit their name the day they're coming out, a little bit more information about them. And for our purposes on this form, this zip code here is going to be very useful for our routing purposes when the form gets submitted. Because the Bridging the Gap program is once the person gets out of like an inpatient treatment center, someone in the district will take them to an in-person meeting 2-3 times, something like that, to help them bridge the gap back to the outside world. So all this personal information gets collected. Sometimes, as you can see here, this tell us about you. The person that's like submitting the form works at the treatment center or something. Sometimes it's them, the person themselves. So I'm gonna go here. I got nope, that's still a form. On the back side of the website here, we've got the routing information here. So I'll just go to the edit form real quick so you can see what a raw form looks like before I get into the rest of the routing. So it's what we saw on the website, your name, your release date, your info, gender, address. There's the zip code I was talking about again. And all of these, as you can see on the right side, are sort of, they've got default kind of boxes there where you've got your paragraph, your single line numbers, more advanced field name, date, time, phone number, address, and it just sort of helps with data input. I think the date one will give you like the calendar pop up. And I don't want to mess with this too much because it's actually a live form. So that's you sort of create your form and what information you want to capture here. And then I will go back to the notifications page I had open. And like I said, the zip code was very important. So you can see here, we've got all the districts in our area broken out here. And I'm going to go into one here. And so we've got who the system sends an email to, our Bridging the Gap chair, this person that has volunteered to get it the DCM of the district, and our alternate bridging the gap chair at the area. They get an email that it looks like it's from me, but it's an automated message that the system sends. And it says, it just dumps all the information that was input into the form and just emails it out to those 4 people, like pretty instantaneously. So that's kind of one example of what we use the form for. We've also got one here, switching gears to corrections. If individual, we've got several meetings in our area that take place on the inside in a correction facility. So here on the left, we've got the long list of sort of where our meetings are and when. And then the form here, you fill out your name, your address, your phone number, and some of the places, when you pick like the St. Louis County Justice Center, do you want to, which meeting do you want to help out at? Monday at 7 for the women, Wednesday at 7 for the men, Thursday at 7 for the men. And that some of the facilities have different volunteers that facilitate the meeting and take it in. So depending on which facility and who we've got in the contact list, there's some conditional logic in the back. Let's see, I was talking about St. Louis County Justice Center. So over here on the right side again, after I've set up sort of this option here, scroll all the way down and it's kind of hidden at the bottom, conditional logic. So that only pops up if they've selected their facility as St. Louis County Justice Center. So that's sort of a neat little feature. And also, after the person fills it out, this has the same routing thing where if we look in the back end, depending on who's signed up, it'll go to them, depending on, the district, the DCM, and it'll also go to the area chair. This is the list of all the forms we've got. We've got a contact us form, bridging the gap, or no, that's contact information submission. So like if you're a new GSR or DCM or something, bridging gap, that's the contact us form, contact an area servant. We've got the corrections volunteers, corrections pre-release. You guys can read, it's a really long list and very helpful. We do registrations for our area's assemblies on there. And something else that we've been using in tandem with Gravity Forms is Zapier. It's a completely different service that Gravity Forms can trigger that. And then Zapier can like take that information and pull it into a Google spreadsheet in our Google Drive and also sign people up for our email blasts that we handle through Google Groups. So that's sort of like a little hidden bonus thing that I didn't intend to talk about, but I'm like, yeah, I use it a lot and it makes my life a lot easier. So Gravity Forms is we use the paid version. It's about $250 a year for us. And also Zapier's a paid service as well. And we implemented Zapier about 2 years ago. And before we did that, I would have to manually do a lot of information capturing, especially with our registration for our area assemblies every quarter. I'd have to manually come into the website and export Gravity Forms information a couple times prior to assembly. But just having that automation in the background that just populates the sheet. So whenever anyone asks, I can just be like, hey, go look at the drive. It's in there. It makes my life a lot easier. And even the submit an event, we've got a form on the website where, you say you're having your group potluck. You can attach your flyer, you can say your time, your address, your date, and that gets it sends the email to me. And I used to have to get in there and put those in the calendar myself, but now the automation from Zapier sort of throws that one up there too. So that's all I got. I don't know how long that was, so thanks.
Oh, that was perfect. Thank you, Peter. And I'll just add in, because Area 72 also uses Gravity Forms. It's super useful. If you're looking at the links in the chat, you'll notice that Gravity Forms did not have a WordPress.org link, and that's because there is no free version of Gravity Forms. Unlike all the other plugins you've seen today, thankfully, you don't have to pay $250 a year. There is a $60 basic license. Area 72 uses the $160 license because it has really great add-ons for Stripe integration, which we use. And yeah, I love that Peter mentioned the Zapier because all the time intensive stuff he has saved himself is stuff I could also easily get off my plate. So this is a great plugin, and thank you, Peter. I learned some cool stuff there. All right, we got two last plugins to go, and Brian is gonna present next. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay, here we go. My name is Brian and I am an alcoholic. And let me start my timer here. And I am presenting the WP Members plugin. This is a simple plugin that my group has used, especially during the pandemic times when we were transitioning to online and then hybrid, and we even went back and forth a few times. And this plugin simply allowed us to create a page on our site that was only available to signed in group members. So it could be used to facilitate the meeting and have all of the information for our business meeting. So whoever was sharing their screen via Zoom had all of the information at their disposal instead of having to constantly switch between different objects in your screen session. So I'm going to spend the time that I have showing you how we used that. My home group is the Thursday night study group. This is our live website now. It's just a basic website with some information about where we meet, when we meet, a little bit about our group, etc. You'll notice in the top right corner, there are multiple links for in the menu. Big Book Study questions. We're a Big Book Study group. These are the questions that we use to help facilitate the meeting. We actually still use this page now to facilitate our meeting. We used to use an overhead projector and all that tech in the room, but now we just use a TV with a laptop connected to it. But you'll notice there's a login link here as well. And I'm going to sign in as admin. We wouldn't actually sign in as admin during the meeting, but just in case there's something else that I want to show you. And you'll notice now that I'm logged in, there are two more links that are available in this menu. What WP Members has done is it has locked pages behind the sign-in and hid the menu from the menu bar from users who weren't signed in. So the only people who see these links and see these pages, have access to these pages, are members of our group. Meeting resources is the main page that we use to facilitate our meeting. And just to demonstrate this, if I copy that URL, open an incognito tab, and paste it in, you get the login screen again. If you go to that page, you cannot see, you cannot access the page unless you're signed in. And so all of the needed items for running our meeting are all on this one page. Hybrid or online, since we went back and forth, we included both meeting formats. All of the things that the chairperson would read or need notes for are there. Here are those same Big Book Study questions that I mentioned earlier that we use to facilitate our meeting, right down to turning it over to the secretary of the group. You just keep on going. Here's the seventh tradition information. We have a little facility here for doing the chips. And we actually don't use this anymore because this is not how we conduct our meeting. Our meeting is in person only now, but this took a while to figure out to do, but it really helped us do our meeting, having everything in one place. And of course, there are items on this page that you would not want public facing. For instance, the available sponsors and the names and phone numbers. This is actually an embed from a Google Sheet that has this information. The Google Sheet is just easier for group members to manage on their phones. But when they change the sheet information, the information that's available here changes as well. The same thing, our group we answer the intergroup phones on Saturday mornings from 8 to 10. We like to have the quick list of who's doing the phones to remind people that their commitment for answering the phones for 2 hours is coming up. And so here that is, right? And if the person's not in the room, we'll give them a call or send them a text and remind them. Right on through to the closing prayer of the meeting, everything that we needed to facilitate the meeting was on one page. Once a month, when we have our business meeting, we have a group members only page in that navigation, also only available to group members. And it has our active members, our current active members, our business meeting minutes, our treasurer's report. This is actually our live treasurer's report. The rest of the information has been scrubbed, but there's nothing personally sensitive in here. And again, these are just embeds from the Google workbook, the Google Sheet that we use to manage all of this information in the Google account. That is the WP members plugin. I'm not going to demonstrate the back end or setting it up. It's dead simple. I will tell you it doesn't work on those newest modern themes that have full site editing capabilities. It does not work on those. I'm sorry, it works on those. The menu system doesn't work on those. There are ways around that. You can use a block in a different area of the page that you can control access to. So that is the WordPress members plugin, incredibly useful for our group during the pandemic.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brian. And the last presenter is David. David, I think you don't even need to be a co-host. I realized that earlier.
Okay,
Go
great.
ahead and screen share.
Great. David, web servant in Area 7, District 47 down in Tulare County. We're south of Fresno, north of Bakersfield. So I'm showing this redirection plugin. It looks like this one. And it solved a problem for me that I inherited the website from the previous admin who had done a static page in front page 98. And everyone had bookmarked where the printed meeting schedule was. And so that's this one here, meeting dear PDF, and you can see it's right off the root. So with the new website, because of the meeting guide app was so good, I learned WordPress, and I still needed to be able to let this website take people there. And so how am I going to get there inside of a WordPress, inside of the WordPress thing? Where am I? Okay. So I think this thing's in the way here. The little zoom finger is, there we go. Sorry. So the way this works is you have a source URL, and then you just give it the target URL. So that's easy enough, right? And then it's got the nice little things where I can check my redirect. So it'll actually try to visit the website that the URL that the person had tried to go to. And then sure enough, I successfully went to the other location. So that was kind of cool. And then the other thing that this does is 404s. Where are people trying to go that there isn't a page there? Right. The 2023 had been deleted, so the Googlebot didn't find that. But if there were, and like this meeting has been deleted, so if I needed to let somebody find the new item, I could go in here and then create a redirect that will take them to that. And that's the other thing that we had done, the previous guy had done static pages for the, for, which meetings were in which city. And so I've got a redirect to 12, region is Visalia, and that takes them there. So I didn't hit the start on my timer, but that's really all there is to this little redirect tool.
Great. No, thank you so much, David. Yeah, well, thank you, everyone. I've learned a bunch of stuff today, and the timing was great. We've got just about 25 minutes now to share. You can ask questions from any of our presenters, but also if like you have something you want to share on one of these plugins or on a different plugin, this is a good time to share as well. And if you can keep and let me actually get back to my script so I don't mess this up. All right, so if you please keep your share to 3 minutes or less. And if your share does reach 3 minutes, I'll give you a gentle reminder to wrap up. And yeah, just use the raised hand feature if you'd like to share or ask a question. And Dan, go ahead.
Hi, Dan Alcoholic. This is a question for, I think it was Peter. You did the Zapier and Gravity forms. You were talking about that zip code feature. Does that automatically route the email based on a district for the zip code? Is that?
Yeah, Dan. It took a little bit of work to set it up and figure out which zip code landed in which district. But based on when whoever is putting in the information, whatever zip code they put in, say the zip code for District 2, then the District 2 people get notified and the email gets sent with all the information to the right people that are in the system for that.
Is that part of Zapier, or is that part of Gravity Forms?
That's part of Gravity Forms. Yeah, I might have muddied the water there talking about two different things at the same time, but Gravity Forms itself can do all those emails for you.
Right.
Yep, and
Thank you.
I can say that's part of the like $60 Gravity Forms. It's not even the Pro or Premium. Dennis, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Dennis. I'm an alcoholic. I'm not very good. I'm just starting to learn on technology and WordPress, but it seems for the theme that I have on WordPress, I'm limited to 2 menus only. It specifically says that. And I'm wondering if that's the theme, or do I need a plugin to expand that so I can have more menus? If you guys have any information on that.
Well, I'm not a WordPress expert, so someone can step in and correct me, but that probably is the way the theme was initially developed, and there might be a plugin that could expand the menu capability. In fact, there's probably a plugin for everything in WordPress these days. I see a bunch of people raising their hand. I don't know if that's to answer the question. Okay, so but yeah, I can tell you that the theme is designed that way, and I would post about that on the TIAA forum. If you're not familiar with that, I'll put the link in the chat at the end, and you'll get some better responses there. But yeah, thank you, Dennis. And someone had raised their hand after Dennis. They took it down, so unless they still want to go, we'll go ahead with Peter.
Hey guys, question there for Scott. You were talking about the translator plugin, right? We've looked at some translation things before for our Spanish speaking friends. How do you guys handle stuff where it changes like chairperson to president and like those kind of oddities of machine translation?
I think we don't bother with it, but I know that if you want to get in the weeds with it, you can actually set up all those kind of alternates. Basically, what we do, including when we make, so we're just accepting stuff as it comes off the shelf. When we ask our officers and our committee chairs to submit a Spanish version, hey, they just paste it into Google Translate and make a Spanish version. It's like we really are putting out a heck of a lot of effort for that particular audience. So I think we assume that they familiar enough with the English language that we're already doing them quite a service. That's just my opinion, but yeah, we just settle with things off the shelf.
And,
Awesome, thanks.
And I'll add to that though that is, I believe, one of the main reasons Weglot is something you'd want to pay for is you log in to their website, and so if you had a translator or interpreter, I think a translator for written, you would give them access, and Weglot breaks all the text into little chunks. And so if there is a chunk that would be, chairperson, they can manually say what it wants to be, and Weglot remembers that, and in the future doesn't use the machine translation. But we've never actually used it ourselves because, like Scott said, it's a lot to stay on top of that. But I hope we will use it in the future, but we've never gotten there. Leslie, go ahead.
Hi, Leslie, alcoholic, Area 34, Western Michigan, Tech Chair. My question is, we didn't cover it tonight too much, a little bit at the end, but one of our early meetings here was about the meeting plugin. And I have a lot of questions about it, but we're getting requests from specifically our registrar to get this an Excel spreadsheet with our meetings. And what I'm wondering about the plugin with the meeting plugin specifically, does it draw from the meeting guide app? Does somebody maintain a Excel spreadsheet? And who? I have lots of questions about this app because I think, anyway.
Well, I'll field that one, and then someone can jump in to add more. But there's a couple different ways, but most people are maintaining the data within the WordPress plugin itself. So, but there is, like Area 72, we actually import all of our data from local websites and don't manage it. But most websites, you're maintaining it within the WordPress plugin. The meeting guide app pulls from you. So the meeting guide app, people aren't maintaining it. You can export the data as a CSV and then edit it in a spreadsheet and then import it. So if a registrar wanted to do it that way, you could. Yeah, but Area 34 is probably the manager of that data, is my guess. So yeah, Leslie, you got my email, so reach out. We can talk more about that one.
I get this as a register for Area 92. I wanted this in the past that they would talk to each other, the fellowship connection data and the meeting guide data. It doesn't. Those are different things. And
yeah, so Dan's absolutely right. The fellowship connection, what the registrars communicate group information to GSO is completely separate. And that's a whole nother can of worms there. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out, Dan, because if a registrar is involved in this discussion, it probably is related to Fellowship Connection. Chaz, go ahead.
Hey, I just had a quick question about the Weglot plugin. The first one was about the quality, but I think you guys already answered that. But is there a tracker to show you how many people are using it? Like, 5 people clicked on the Spanish version today, or so you can tell.
Yeah. What I've seen, what we pay to particularly close attention to is when we're running close to our limit, and we're getting to the point where half the time we are bumping up against our limit, which is 200,000 words a month. So that's when it becomes a concern for us. But there are metrics and things that you can get, when you're paying for it. Obviously, you do have access to that sort of stuff.
Awesome. All right, thanks.
Thank you. Brett, go ahead.
Brett, Alcoholic, Area 34 also. I just wanted to touch base real quick on, it's called, can I share my screen?
I think so, yeah. I clearly did not limit that in the settings, so go for it.
We're really big in the Google Drive, and we started utilizing this integrate Google Drive system. It's a really cool plugin. It's minimal. I think it's like $50 for the year. And you have this tab. It's all built on short codes. You can have a file uploader for people that want to be able to upload their flyers to us. Slider carousel. And if you upload a PDF, it'll generate a JPEG and put it right in the carousel, so you have both. And it works right off your Google Drive. I just wanted to give a little shout out for that. It's really helped us out. We put it in probably about a month and a half ago. It has just been great for us. Thank you.
Thank you. That is cool. I'll add that to the list of links for today's session. Scott, go ahead.
I just wanted to comment a little bit about that. How we're the meeting guide app and listing. We in Area 59, we probably import lists from a half a dozen districts or so. Some of them are we are Sepia, southeastern Pennsylvania. That's all of Philadelphia. That's half the sites on our within our area. That's 2,000. They have 2,000 groups. We have about 4,000 groups in the eastern. Anyway, what I want to say is that you can import those districts and intergroups that have websites. Yes, we can essentially be linking to that. But the other thing that we found, we have, particularly in some of our rural districts, they don't have a website. But what they are able to do is to create, a CSV file. One of the things that works very, very well is the Google Worksheets process. And one of the best repositories for this information, in addition to TIAA forum, okay, is to go to the meeting guide app support. I mean, that's not it's you got your meeting guide app support. There's a lot of wonderful step-by-step how to do it, and then also Josh R., who was the developer of the meeting guide app, he's part of Code for Recovery. And those folks, if you get on GitHub and go over to Code for Recovery, you're basically working with the people who are maintaining this thing. And I have found that when I can't figure, when I'm bumping up against a wall, I get on GitHub, go over to Code for Recovery, and I get answers. They give me beautiful answers, and it's always the same day. So big shout out to Josh and the folks at Code for Recovery.
Thank you. Dan, go ahead.
Yeah, two things. What we do at Area 92 is we have login management, and we've tried to maintain that our DCMs are in control of their district's meetings. So we provide a unique login for each DCM. And then they only have access to their district's meetings in the TMSL, or the meeting guide app. The other thing I shouldn't bring up because I don't know enough about it, but it's a language deal like North Coastal area is using. I talked to them at PRASA. It's called DeepL, DeepL.com. And what attracted to me that I don't know enough is that you can train it. And they have very good Hispanic translation group. And my hope, and I don't know if this is true, is that we could tie into whatever work that they may have put into this. And, you know, they're training it better on AA language for English and Spanish. So just something that's out there. Not my gig yet, but.
Right on. Very cool. I'll add a link to that to the list of links too. Any other questions, discussion? We've got at least about 10 minutes before we need to close. Susan, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Susan, Area 92 Tech Committee. I was just curious. I'm very into this gravity forms. And just a real quick visit, it showed that there's a nonprofit version. And I was wondering if anybody on here had any experience with that. But it was like significantly cheaper than the like full paid.
Yeah, one of the districts, or actually not one of the local like roundups in Western Washington, I was working with their web servant and they discovered that, and I'm gonna actually apply for it before the next time we have to renew, because yeah, it is a significant discount. I think you have to be a 501c3 nonprofit.
Well,
but
we are.
yeah, but most, I don't know most, but many areas are, and so yeah. And there was basically just an application process talking to her, and it got approved pretty quickly. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, because I saw like it has the MailChimp add-on, which we're looking into, you know, Hub, Stripe. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So that's worth anyone thinking about Gravity Forms, if your service entity is a 501c3 nonprofit, definitely apply for the nonprofit rate. Leslie, go ahead.
Hi again. I have two quick questions. First of all, I'd like to see, this is completely off topic, but how many areas here are 501s?
Wow.
Significant.
We're in the
Okay.
process at Area 34, that's why.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And the other thing is, are we going to have a, I know this is a steering committee question, I guess, but are we going to have a security session on website security?
Well, it's quite the synchronicity that you asked about that, because someone just volunteered to do a deep dive in WordPress security, which will be our August session. So, and that person is Sean, who presented earlier. And yeah, so yes, we're gonna have a WordPress security. And Brett, go ahead. Or Brett, you're still muted.
Sorry, I thought I was clicking it down. I didn't realize it was still up. Go ahead.
Okay, so Karen, go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Karen and I'm an alcoholic and I'm from Area 20, but I'm the district DCM. And talking about the non-for-profit status, our Area 20 is a 501c, but the districts cannot use the area's 501c status. And it's very difficult for our district of 4 little counties out in the country to be able to do the paperwork and meet the requirements to do a 501c. So I just wanted to share that these things that we can do and get at a 501c, you probably won't be able to do it for individual districts for their area.
Well, they're committees of area, so I don't get that.
Well, yeah, well, I don't know the ins and outs of the umbrella status 501c3, but I will say just in general, like that is the question like your service entity has to ask is like, is it worth the 501c3 paperwork, which then has to be maintained every year? Because like Gravity Forms, for instance, Sean just put a alternate free plugin that he says that you with WordPress you can probably find a free plugin for just about everything, but it might require more elbow grease on the part of your trusted servants. Like with the event calendar, if you want recurring events, you got to pay for it. But you can bulk upload if you want to create recurring events, you know, in a spreadsheet first. And so yeah, the um and but yeah, the 501c3 is a complicated issue. And I know with TechSoup, you used to be able to qualify like under an umbrella organization, but I don't know if that's still possible. And I don't know if districts technically qualify under an umbrella anyways. Um, so yeah, more more to be revealed on that. That would be a good discussion to have on the technology and AA forum as well. Brett, go ahead.
Brett, alcoholic still. Yeah, from our experience so far in the investigation and research that we've done, because your area is a corporation, the districts don't fall underneath that. That's why you're having trouble with that. From what we've found so far, like I said, we're still in the process of getting the paperwork in. And what we found was you have to file federally once, and then state you have to, at least for Michigan, it's $25 a year. And if you skip or miss it, you have to file to the federal all over again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite the process. So for every district, it might not be worth it. Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to chime in a little bit on that. I think, you know, getting some free plugins, that's one thing. But for me, the most important thing is, are you getting Google Workspace for nonprofits? You know, if you're not using Google Workspace for profits and you're not willing to put in the legwork to do that, you're missing the boat. You know, one of the things that I don't know if he was on here, Fred from our tech servant from Area 59, one of the big undertakings that he's doing now for Area 59, and that's, we got a lot of districts, might be 50 districts or something like that. He's getting them all email addresses, you know, through Google Workspace for nonprofits. So, you know, for us, you know, I also come from an intergroup that's only made up of 2 districts. We're about an hour northwest of Philadelphia, Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton, and we just have 2 districts. But you know what? It was worth it for us. And what we did was you look for a bookkeeper. You look for somebody who's used to doing tax forms, and those are the people who can fill out and do the stuff that you need to do to get stuff like Google Workspace and to fill out your paperwork for a 501c3.
Thanks. And I'll chime in because we have a few minutes and no hands raised. Like my successor as area web servant always said, like the oh, is there a hand raised? Oh, Sean, you're sorry, it blended in with your background. So I'll make this real quick though. The area should only do what the districts and groups can't do for themselves. And this is a good example where not every district can fill out and maintain the 501c3 paperwork. So our area does give email addresses for every district. And so, yeah, I think what Scott just described is a good model. At the area level, it would be a kind of probably a no-brainer almost to take the time to get that paperwork going and get Google Workspace. Or there is the option of Microsoft's thing to not not be completely Google centric. But Sean, go ahead.
Okay, so 2 comments. Well, actually, no, I'm just going to keep the one. So let me go ahead and reshare my screen. So what you are looking at is a 126 row spreadsheet that actually I haven't quite kept up to date, of all of the plugins that I have been looking at or rejecting or selecting as part of this Area 3 website redesign. Actually, let me go ahead and clear. So actually, let me do select all. Sorry, select all. There we go. And like, say, for example, I was interested in authentication and authorization. I looked at all of these plugins to try and get it linked up with our Google Workspace to do pass-through SAML authentication. And I did a pretty exhaustive thing for a pretty detailed website. I'm not quite comfortable sharing this publicly, but I can share it with people on request if people have additional, want to leverage this work. It is very opinionated based on my personal preferences, so take that with a grain of salt. Thanks.
Wow. Yeah, no, that is an amazing resource. So everyone chat Sean if you want to get that shared to you. And yeah, so that brings us to the end, and let me just get back to my script so I don't forget anything. If you have further questions you want to discuss, as I've said multiple times, the Technology and AA Forum is a great place to do that. As I mentioned before our presentations began, we're a learning group. We're full of people of all different levels of technology experience, from beginners to experts. And because we're a learning group, that means that all of you are eligible to present at future tech sharing sessions. So it could be on any topic, just something real simple that you've learned about in your journey of a service. So if you haven't already, this is a topic survey. You can tell us what topics you want to learn about, and then also what topics you might have some experience with that you could share. And here is the form for today's survey for feedback for today's session. And then last is, well, no, not second to last is we're slowly building up a nice little archive of resources. So here's the Google Drive where all the tech sharing session recordings and resources are. After the recording from today is ready, it'll get put in there. And lastly, if you want to be added to the email list, you can, someone just gave me their email in the chat, and that's perfect. I'll add you, but you can also send an email to techsharingsessions@gmail.com and I'll get you added. You'll get one email reminder a week before the session, and then the day after the session, usually when the video is ready, you'll get a link to the recording. And if you just have any questions or want to help, techsharingsessions@gmail.com is a good way to reach me. And with that, I'm gonna stop the recording.